have been working on Mesopotamian civilization for more than 30 years. I think what I like with this forum and what maybe separates it from what the kind of conferences and so on that I would normally go to is that it's looking towards the future. It's about developing this part of the world, this area, the Yangtze River area, making life better for future generations while looking at the past. So it is trying to learn lessons from the past and apply those lessons in order to improve something for the future. In terms of similarities, it is the dependence on the rivers, of course. In Mesopotamia, the rivers are carving a civilization through the desert. This is an arid part of the world, so nothing can be cultivated without the help of irrigation. It is a desert, but once irrigation has been sorted out, the soil is fertile and it would produce very good yields, very large yields, and once that happens, a large proportion of the population can be removed out of the agricultural production. They're not necessary because a smaller number of farmers can produce enough barley to sustain the population. And that of course means once you remove people out of agricultural production, they have to do something else, and you create a more stratified, diverse society. This is complexity, and this is the beginning of civilization. You get a hierarchical society with specialized people, craftsmen, priests, bureaucrats, administrators, and so on. In the Yangtze River Basin, and there are similarities but also differences. It is not an arid area. The Yangtze River receives a fair amount of rainfall, but the rainfall is to some degree limited to the summer months, or much of the rain is falling in the summer months, and there are periods they are dry spells, if you like. So irrigation is also necessary here, but perhaps in a slightly different fashion. There is just a much more lush and green environment here. Irrigation here is necessary, but it is a different kind of irrigation. The systems are smaller and can be handled on a more individual basis. In Mesopotamia, the irrigation networks are very, very complicated, very large, and typically strictly controlled by a central authority. Along the Yangtze, there might be somewhat more individual ways of irrigating the fields. In Mesopotamia, heritage preservation has and is an issue. I think looking towards this part of the world, I think Anatolia, modern-day Turkey, might be more meaningful. And there you have some archaeological projects that have been quite successful in this sense. So Çatalhöyük, for example, a very famous site in Anatolia, have for many years sort of been almost a gold standard for this part of the world in heritage preservation, but also outreach and how to communicate the past with the public, if you like, by building sort of life-size buildings, recreating those, or also using technology, sort of virtual reality and similar things. So I think that would be more meaningful than looking at southern Mesopotamia and Iraq today. I think just what I mentioned, Çatalhöyük would be, I think, the most successful case where I think they have been very successful in this archaeological site in presenting it to the public and involving the local population making sure that people feel connected to the past, people who live there. And the lesson we have learned from that is that by doing this, by ensuring that the locals feel connected to the past, you make the locals almost into custodians of the archaeological remains. So this is very important, to not separate the excavations from the local communities. And that has been done very well in Çatalhöyük, for example. I think all kinds of international collaborations are meaningful. I think when we work together in the world, we achieve more. I'm an academic and I have spent my entire life in higher education. I've never sort of worked outside the university world. So for me personally, I would like to see academic exchange, academic collaborations, joint research projects, possibly things such as programs where students are involved in cross-cultural research, studying Mesopotamian civilization as well as Yangtze River civilizations, maybe with joint supervision. There could be supervisors here and supervisors in my home institution, the University of Liverpool, for example. I think such collaborations will eventually yield long-term results, and from there I think one would need to try to engage the public, so that the academic part is not just an academic part, but that it also involves the public. But for me as an academic myself, I think the logical start is research collaborations, academic exchanges.